Hi, everyone. It is Angelo Otterbein. It is June 23rd. A fantastic spring, feels like spring day here in Baltimore. And I am looking forward to presenting 3 sites today. And they are coming out fast and furiously from our deployment team. But I wanted to pick a couple to share, and we'll have a pretty big lineup in the coming weeks. Thanks for giving me a break last week. I went to Cape May, and it was nice to see the ocean. So it feels like things are turning a corner and back to normal. So let's jump in here. I have McNicholas High School. Really nice site. I think what they do well, they obviously incorporate their green really well. It's a nice treatment of a logo. The use of organizing the top navigation combined with the primary navigation. There's just something really easy about the way this is put together. And I think as you look at your own navigation, how you group things can really make a difference. And so, there aren't 10 items in this row, but rather, whatever it is, 7, and then 5 plus a call to action up here, and the search, which has this convenient, open and close mechanism. And so, that just as a basic navigation principle is something that I would keep your eye on, because what I have seen, or what tends to happen, is that the site will evolve almost without you knowing it, and suddenly the 5 items that you spent a while thinking about have become 7 or 8, and it no longer makes a ton of sense in terms of how things are structured. I like that it says about McNick. This tells me I was not familiar with this high school prior to checking out the new site launch. So this just tells me that it gives me a little bit of an insight into who they are, just by virtue of the fact that they say about McNick. Nice big pictures, clearly centered around a Christian education. They're not afraid of that. They're really kind of taking it and making it clear via pictures and via their large kind of messaging. And I think that combined gives you a really good sense of who this school is, especially when you have something in the navigation that says mission and ministry. So I think in terms of identity and really expressing what the school values and the kind of education that they bring to prospective families, the site does a really great job of that. Nice to have some news with a little. I like the little kind of hover of with the school emblem or logo. You can see a little bit of social media. So it's just one news item and some social media. It's a good combination to manage with a link to more news. This gives us a kind of a sense of what the school perceives as its kind of core differentiators. This faith-based pursuit of brilliance, which I think is cool, co-ed, close-knit community, and culture of pride and participation. So those things together, surrounding the logo, and they have this transparent, faint picture of the campus building, I think really gives you and the user an idea of like who the school is philosophically and where they're going. So it's just a nice presentation of that. Not a lot of text. Then you have a very easy to read, follow calendar with some items and a way to get to more. And then the footer, I like this kind of burst of color and lines. Good mission statement. Nice to have the apply now and give. I like also that these two aren't side by side, because they often are, and we do it quite a bit. And it's not necessarily wrong, but there are 2 very different things that we're asking. Obviously, one is a link to apply, and the other is to make a donation. But we have a tendency to group them. So I like that these are separate, and that this apply now is tied directly into the mission. So really nice example of a good custom design with some nice differentiation, and yet some current content throughout. I'm hopping over to Barry School. So Barry School is a Montessori school, teaching kids from age 12 months to grade 12. What's amazing about this place is also that it's only 300 kids. So when you think about that broad range of what the school needs to cover in terms of curriculum and philosophy and education, that's really quite impressive. And they've been around. I was poking around their site. They've been around for nearly 100 years, so they've got this pretty well figured out. This design device of this, it's like a teardrop shaped leaf from their logo. It dots the I, but then it gets picked up in these sorts of ways. So in this particular case, it's a way to navigate from one division to the next. It's nice to have calls to action here and here, learn more and apply now. So with McNicholas High School, we just have the apply. There's definitely something to be said for having a learn more too. It's a little bit of a softer ask in terms of inquiring versus applying. And then you have kind of a deeper dive for parents who just want to know more specific to the division, 12 months to grade 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 12. The Barry difference. So in this case, they've got 5 areas. It's a really well-designed panel that describes innovation with these nice hover states that lay the foundation for what you're about to see: academic excellence, active learning, a deep sense of belonging, and then find your voice. So each of these has a little bit more underneath, but together, you can get a sense for kind of the big picture of what Barry is trying to do and how it differentiates itself. Here we're combining a couple of upcoming events with a couple of news items. So, really nice, I think easy approach to just letting people know that there's stuff going on, that, things are happening, but doesn't need to be an overwhelming amount. And you can also just continue to poke through and see what else is there. I like the campus is at the bottom, the campus tour. So they've got this nice video montage. So a lot of our sites will open with a big video, but in this particular case, you get the drone footage and the walkthroughs, and then a link to the virtual tour and a campus map. So that's a nice package here, and then there's the leaf again. And then further down, you've got very simple footer, contact information, and social media. So, together, I think it's a really easy to kind of digest homepage. And then the pages too are not, over the top in terms of complex. Lots of good information. So we'll just go to upper school. Nice big opening picture. Pretty contained navigation. Some nice messaging. A little bit of kind of call out quotes and testimonials, and then they're using the accordion treatment to show more about each of the subject matters. So there's not a deep area around upper school, but there's enough for prospective families or parents to really get a sense of what happens here all the time in terms of the curriculum in this case. It's a really nice site and another nice navigation. And I like that they do this right at the top, a progressive education for 12 months to grade 12. Often we'll have just the school name, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but I think if you can make it work within the design, just saying quickly, especially I think it's important for Barry where people may not know who they serve in terms of, it's unusual to serve an age group that's 12 months. So I think this is really smart to have that. Whereas McNicholas High School, it's in the name, so you don't need to necessarily worry about that. So just something to consider as you evaluate your own site. And then lastly, this is really just a tremendous site in another site in Maryland, and it is, I think, one of the best examples I've seen recently of a site of a homepage that tells quite a story. And each part of the homepage is just extremely well conceived and designed. Pretty simple homepage with beautiful photography, unique message. I haven't seen something quite like this, especially when you have the word "you" in it. I think really says something and is strong. You've got the overlay of the nav. Now their school color is brown, which is not an easy color necessarily for the web, but I think they do a nice job of using it. You'll see in a sec. In this particular case, the brown just acts as a nice contrast for the the site navigation, and then you've got popular pages and easy calls to action on the left. I like this idea of popular pages as opposed to quick links. So I thought that was nice, and the subtle use of the emblem. In any case, as you scroll, there's just every part of this page is just really interactive and interesting. So they've got this best version of himself, and the different values and areas that the school really excels. They have this, which I think is really cool, where you have the school emblem. It says, "Your son is why we don't waver in our values, our program, or our people." So they really focus on, your son. They're really talking to and very directly parents, and I think that that's smart. It helps them be more exacting in their language. So as a boys' school, this is important, and they're really trying to make sure that's clear. So they've got these nice videos that are embedded. Calls to action, instead of tucked away at the bottom, happen pretty quickly, so they're sort of right in the middle of the homepage. And then you get the divisions. It's fun, these little kind of spinning more signs. And you see the color palette here with the maroon, the brown, and the deep blues. They're really nice collection of colors that work well. And it's sequential as opposed to side by side, which I think makes sense. And then you get this stunning, background picture kind of fall with kids in the, kind of playing, but it acts as a really nice backdrop for some pretty impressive stats in terms of, financial aid and student-teacher ratio, students of color, average class size, like just some really important data points for families. But it just keeps going. So now we're talking about or learning about what they call signature experiences, which I think is neat. So these get further explained as you dig deeper into the site and link through. You get a second set of calls to action. And then this awesome Instagram display. So it's a big grid, but the pictures are nice and big, which I think is smart considering how good their Instagram feed is, and fills the page. But what's nice about Finalsite feeds is that it doesn't require any more maintenance. So as they add to Instagram, it continues to populate their homepage, so they can just let that roll. And then cool footer with another campus shot. So you just think about how much ground they're covering just in the homepage. It's really impressive. But what's more is when you start to look through the interior, even the pages inside are equally deep. So this page called Design for Boys, just really beautiful layouts. They've got this cool treatment where they've got teachers and staff, talking, but they're kind of rollover videos, which I haven't seen before quite like this. It's nice big vertical shot too. Then you get information about teachers, coaches, and mentors. So what they're really trying to communicate is how they build this environment for educating boys. And so they make this tremendous case for that through video and through these facts and through really good content, really decisive language. You are known, relationships are foundational, Landon. So very thoughtful, more videos in terms of specialties. Here those colors are playing out again. So the deeper brown, blue, and red. So all of that helps provide coherence throughout the site and just this overall identity that works. Another testimonial. So no matter kind of how you want to consume this content, whether it's just kind of looping through pictures or reading a couple of sentences, or diving in all the way to all the content, they're speaking to different user groups and how different kinds of parents, and also how much time those parents have when they're traversing the site. But this is when you think about this is a interior page, and think about how much great content is on here. And this is kind of fun, this hashtag Good News Tuesday. So lots of interesting things happening, and it's all on these very robust interior pages outside of the homepage. So we know that people are going to skip through the homepage, so it's important that when we get them to the interior that we're delivering there too. And I think if there's a site that does it. Certainly this one. Just, you're going to get a lot of everything as you sort of go through these pages. So I'd encourage you to spend some time surfing not just the homepage, but the interior of the site. Really great example that does a lot in terms of communicating and talking about the school and providing very concrete examples using media, news, and so forth, Instagram, in a very comprehensive way. So excellent job and great site, and congratulations to these 3 schools. And I will see you all next week.